Hello, welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. I'm your host, Dewey Bear, and joining me today are two excellent co-hosts. There's three of us, there's two co-hosts. And so, to my, on the screen, to the very far left of the screen, we have Roadypie.
Hellos. Hellos.
And joining... Yes, and joining us today, for the first time ever not in chat, we have our chat third host, Akyho. Welcome.
Hello, it's been a long time, and I suppose this was going to happen eventually. I talk enough in the chat as we'll make it
live. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate having you. And so we're here today, first show of 2020, although I would say most of our games are from 2019. We're wrapping that up because of the holiday, but first show of 2020, and we dug through a very large release list and found the gems so that you don't have to. So, but before we get into that, I do have just a question since it's a new year, it's a new decade, but new year. Any anticipated games of 2020? Rhodey, do you have any games that you're really looking forward to this year?
I'm really, really hoping, hope against hope, that Mineko's Night Market comes out this year. It's been on my radar for I think 2 years now. And they said last year that it was close to being released last year. And then they've sort of got burnt out and said they need some time to rest themselves and get it polished and everything like that. So I'm hoping this is the year that they're going to bring it out. So it's about a game about eating eats and catting cats. So but no, you go around and you collect stuff and you fight. I think you sort of fight things as well, and you're looking for secrets, but anything you find you sell in your night market. So yeah, it looks like it's very sort of Animal Crossing-esque, and it has got just some really cool mini games and stuff. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. But if it ever happens,
it's a cool direction for them to go in this sort of 2D children's storybook kind of aesthetic. That is really nice.
Yeah, it's so adorable.
It's just man, it was 2018 when this was first announced.
Yeah.
2 years.
I've seen a bit of it before, but it's just one of those things that just disappear from the radar unless you're following it like Rhodey does.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to locate upcoming games sometimes in the Steam list because it's just it's enormous. Any others?
I think that's my main one, but I just generally I try maybe there are a few point and click games like the ones I saw at Venture X, and I think Ring of Fire is definitely one on the top of my list. That looks, sort of incredible point and click / visual novel. It was very it's just something like a very powerful game. The characters are just so well written, and I got to speak to the dev, and it really, the way they did the characters and the way you're supposed to behave as one of the detectives, it's really, it can be quite a difficult play because I'm not used to playing sort of the kind of bad cop sort of thing and push people around. But it was really very, very interesting to play. Very interesting to play.
That's really kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The sort of fisheye effect on that aesthetic, it kind of even the lighting effects, the dramatic lighting, and the kind of wide panel view, it definitely reinforces that noir feeling. It's a very colorful noir, but it still gives you that noir feeling. That is nice.
Yeah.
So that is very cool.
I know Rhodey's feeling about playing bad cops because playing Disco Elysium, there is the playing of the bad cop, but you can fail it so badly that you come out so wimpy, and everyone's like, no, what are you doing? You're a weirdo. And it's like, I was trying to be tough, leave me alone.
You see, when I played the demo, it's like I had to. So someone's husband had been murdered, and I had to confront the wife, and I had to be the bad cop about it because it was sort of like a suspicion that she was like probably the one who did it, or at least hired someone to do it. So it's like, oh, you know, you have to sort of be very tough with her. But when she opens the door, she's crying and everything like that. And I just got into my head. It's like, oh, what happens if someone told me Mr. Bear had been murdered? Like, and it's like, no, I can't be mean to this woman. And it's just like, and then the developer, when I'd finished that, because it kind of cuts off after that, and she shut the door in my face without me asking any questions at all, unfortunately, because I was so soft on her. And the developer says, oh, why didn't you go down that route? And I told him why, and he says, yeah. And I says, you know, if she'd acted like a complete bitch to me, then yes, I would have gone in there like guns blazing and everything. So I think, you know, you've got to really push someone like me to be nasty, because, you know, I just can't be that mean to somebody. You know, you really push me to do that. So yeah, so maybe I'm hoping from the feedback he's gotten, he's going to tweak a few bits here and there. So, but and also Backbone, I think that's my last pick for games looking forward to.
Backbone. We've been waiting so long for this one, but yeah it's Vancouver with animals. Yep. Yeah.
This is another one I saw at Adventure X, and I got to speak to I think I spoke to either the artist or, you know, one of the designers anyway. And talking about it, they said like the people that were into sort of point and click games found the puzzles very easy, but found the stealth elements really, like, they couldn't wrap their head around it. Whereas people that are sort of like used to stealth, like, they had absolutely no problem with it and they loved those elements, but then they really struggled with the puzzles. So, and I think it's one of the problems with kind of bringing two genres together. The audience are going to be split, and you're not going to have like a happy medium to it. You have to, I think, cases like that, you have to either go with one way or another. You can't, like, unless you make both parts very easy, but then you're still not satisfying everybody because both parts are too easy for them. So yeah, they said they are going to make adjustments, but I don't know who that's going to please.
Yeah, there's some potential when you combine two genres that you're going to make a sort of new genre just blossom out of it. But it's just, it's a risky move because you might alienate two sides, or you might draw two different groups together. So the quality, though, of this game, I really hope it does the latter. So yeah, because it's such a beautiful pixel art. You know, it's amazing, I think, what they've done. Akyho, what are your most anticipated games for 2020?
A bunch of my anticipated games are really the stuff that's like already on everyone's radar, like Cyberpunk 2077. We've also got a bunch of others, but a real one that is really close in like a few days' time is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It's an action RPG of Dragon Ball, of course, and granted, is going to retell the exact same goddamn story that I've like rewatched and replayed 100 times already. But I'm all ready for it. I'd want more Dragon Ball. And then there's eventually, supposedly this year, the Beneath the Steel Sky remake. Yeah. And then
Beyond the Steel Sky.
There's going to be a sequel as well, but they're going to get the remake first.
Oh no! Oh really? I thought Beyond the Steel Sky is the sequel.
Oh, Beyond the Steel. Oh, right. See, that's why I'm getting confused, because I was thinking Beneath the Steel Sky, Beyond the. Aye. So yeah,
they're working on Beyond the Steel Sky, which is a sequel, which Charles Cecil actually spoke about and showed us some parts of at Adventure X.
Oh wow! It's got that sort of Fallout aesthetic going on.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a ruined city, and that's just future technological stuff in the sort of wasteland, but you don't really explore you do explore the wasteland and such. It was a point and click adventure, like way back, so it's just like your classic thing of like an outsider and trying to figure things out, because there was the tribal side, there was the city side, and then you're just trying to ruin the big plan. But it was really good. I loved it. It's free on Good Old Games. Like I think it's still free on Good Old Games. You just sign up and you get it automatically. So it's free to play, but then there's a sequel, and it's like, how many point-and-click adventures get modern sequels that might actually be genuinely good?
Yeah. I think Revolution games, they just ramped up so much recently, because when they did the Kickstarter for the 5th Broken Sword, and one of the goals was, if we reach this goal, we will do a sequel to Beneath a Steel Sky, and just everyone went crazy. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, yeah, no, absolutely, this has got to happen. This has got to happen." They didn't quite reach the goal. They didn't quite to hit that. If we get enough of this, we'll enough. If we hit this goal, we will. But obviously, that didn't matter, because they're going into production, and this is going to come out sometime this year, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully. It's still coming soon, but hopefully 2020, we shall see. It looks fantastic. Like, this is like a sort of Borderlands, but a bit stepped back from that aesthetic. Like, it's because there's there's the black line around everything, but it's a lot thinner. It's got more color. There's a lot more color going on. I really like it, and it's more of a story. There's some action in it, but it doesn't seem to be just like a run and gun type game. So
yeah,
that is. Oh, it looks so cool. I did not know about this game, so that is. I'm gonna add it to my follow list so I can keep an eye on it.
And my last biggest expectation is Kerbal Space Program 2.
Oh,
that freaked me out when it was announced at E3. I went mental. It was the only thing I went mental for, so just gonna have to wait for that.
This is a franchise I don't know if I'll ever get into, but I do really genuinely like watching people stream this game. Just because, like, either there's this big success and it's like, yay, or like just the rocket blows up and
well, this trailer just demonstrates the like new ideas they're going to implement, but also how they'll fail as well. They'll just, it's the fun of trying and failing and succeeding eventually.
Yeah. It's definitely not my piece of cake, but boy, this is so cool that the next one's coming out.
Put several hundred hours into Kerbal Space Program, and that was right from the start, from like the very first tech demo, put a whole whack of hours. Then they, like, after a few months, said, "Oh, we're onto something. We'll charge you $13," and then it's like instant buy, and it's been well worth it since the start. So I can't see how they could go wrong with a new Kerbal.
No. The one downside is if they get the performance bad. Yes, because I am seeing that there's a lot of graphical improvement here. So it's like they need to have good performance. But if they do that, if it's the same formula, it's gonna be great.
That's true, God bless we, but it's the Dark Souls of space melting.
That, I feel like that should be a banned phrase in the 2020s, is the Dark Souls of. Isn't that the one thing that whenever you see it, you're just like, oh, maybe it's true, but it sets my teeth on edge. No, because
before it was Ninja Gaiden, because Ninja Gaiden for the Xbox original was a nightmare to get through. So everyone just called it Ninja Gaiden of such and such until Dark Souls took that crown.
Yeah. I mean, it's a helpful analogy. It's a helpful idea. But at the same time, it's
been battered with a dead horse's head sort of thing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. It's become just too common of a phrase.
Yeah.
Ugh. And it honestly hypes up Dark Souls a little bit too much, because Dark Souls, it's very fair. It's not actually that hard. I'm never gonna beat it, but it's not like punishing.
I think depends who you are, though. Depends who you
True.
are. Anyway,
Yes.
we don't need to talk more about Dark Souls.
Indeed,
We already
indeed.
done enough.
Indeed.
But
Back to
what about you,
anticipated games of 2020. For me, it is just straight up Temtem right now, which thankfully,
Oh yeah,
Yes.
round the corner.
it's coming out on the 21st of January. So we're going to be talking about this very soon. So I think in 2 shows we'll be talking about it having released and such. So excited! This is probably a day 1 buy for me. It'll be early access, so there's only going to be like 70 Temtem. But they're going to be through patches. They want to bring it up, like, so without having to buy any DLC, it's going to go up to over 170 Temtem. So
Okay.
yep. And there's a lot of cool systems in this game. It's beautiful. Unlike, it's basically Pokemon, but with a European cartoon aesthetic, which I think is neat. There's a lot of character customization, and it's so cool. They can always have one like out running along with you, and so there's that additional level of customization. Like you're kind of flying the banner of like, no, this is the best Temtem kind of thing. So it's cool. So that is my only game of 2020 I'm super anticipating. I'm not sure what... there's a lot of games that I'm hoping to come out, but none of them have really like said that, oh, we're definitely 2020. And even some of the ones that have been more like pretty gun-ho about getting out this year, I'm just like, yeah, but are you? So Temtem is what I'm gonna be Temtem beta is right now. Yes, there is a stress test going on, but I don't want to touch the stress test. I just want to wait until launch. So
Yeah, I just want to play. Just want to run around
yes.
playing. No, I'm gonna probably get this as well.
Same. Friends will probably be playing it, and it's multiplayer, so...
Mm-hmm. And how they have it set up is that, so it's not really great for groups of players, but for 2 players, if you just have another friend, all the single story campaign can be done with 2 players. It's just that collectively you have a party of 6, so that means each of you have 3 that you're able to control. There's also some interesting other quirks that go along with it, but it is very much built, so you can go through the entire single playing campaign, which is about 20-ish hours if you just mainline it. In the early access version, it's going to get longer later, but right now, 20 hours that in the alpha.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's pretty good. Nice.
So, again, before we get to the release list, we have what games did we play? And since it's been a long time, I'm going to probably limit this list a bit, just the last couple weeks or so. Because I think we probably got a lot of games done over the over the holiday. But Roadie, what games did you play?
Right, I'm gonna go through them as quickly as possible, but with a little explanation. So, you got me Agent A.
Oh, I did.
And I played it.
You played
and I
it
finished
already?
it.
Oh my gosh! All right, need to hear about how it was.
I couldn't put it down. It was so good. I think it's there. There's sort of enough to sort of going the story that's like interwoven to keep you not. It doesn't feel like you're just going from puzzle to puzzle to puzzle. Oh, hello, Buffoon Batman. Thank you for joining us. So
Buffoon.
So it's and the puzzles are really great as well, and you sort of know what you need to do. Like, I've got to do this to make this happen, so let me try and find this thing, or let me try and have a look around. What do I need to do, or here, there, and everywhere. So it's really good. It's really good, sort of like, I don't want to say signposting, but just weaving through the game, basically. So yeah, it's there were a couple of puzzles that were a bit, oh god, what do I have to do here? But other than that, they were fairly straightforward but challenging enough. And I just love I just love the style and the story of it. And I got to make friends with a mousey, which is always good. His name was Trevor.
Trevor. Trevor the mouse.
Trevor the mouse.
I'm really, really happy that you like this a lot, because and hearing your review, just put it on my wish list. So I wasn't sure. I knew you wanted it, and I was like, will she like it though? That's kind of like my line for whether I'm going to like a point and click game. So
I mean, yeah, absolutely, because there are like a lot of point and click and a lot of puzzle games out there, and they're just like varying degrees on how well the elements that they've put in them have come together. And this is really well balanced story-wise, puzzle, and difficulty. And I think this is just really fantastic. And I'm hoping there's a sequel.
Awesome. Yeah, this would be great as a sequel. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So the next one is Nordlicht. Nordlicht? Or
yeah.
Nordlicht?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So I played this one, and completed it. I really did like the artwork. The story is a bit of a smattering of it. You kind of know what you need to do, sort of thing. But I felt like when you got towards the end, it was kind of like you weren't sure what you were supposed to do. So you sure what you're supposed to do because it gave you lists on the first and second part, and then when you've got to the sort of the end part, it's like, wait a minute, what am I supposed to be doing here? So you know you have to get to the top of this sort of mountain, but it was just, there was some confusing things. So but I think it's fairly cheap game, and it was okay, but it could have been better. I think this is a lot of style over substance kind of game. There could have definitely been a few things done better. So that's that. I completed Chronicles of Magic.
There's so many games with Chronicles. There we go.
Oh yeah, Chronicles of Magic: Divided Kingdom.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah. It was okay, bit of a basic story, and this is one I like beta tested for them, and it was and it seemed all right. The kid has a really annoying voice acting role in it, and also you think, how can people be so stupid as well? There's like the king in it who's sort of like your enemy. It's like, really? You swallowed that lie? Really? Did you not question it? Are you a leader here? I think not. So yeah, it was just and the villain, you kind of know who the villain was from the start. So it was which was supposed to be a surprise. And it was just like, no, it's just so stupid. So yeah, it's fine, but this, if you're really just into something because of the story, this is not it. This is very bad. And the bonus chapter as well was just terrible. Okay. Next one I played was A Short Hike.
Oh, awesome. Good.
Yeah, I oh my god, I didn't complete it. This is one I started. I've got an hour into, but and it's just, I love it. Absolutely love it. And there's just so although it doesn't have cloud save, so I was playing this on the laptop while I was away, but then when I went to boot it up on my PC here, I'd lost all my progress, so I'm gonna have to take my save file and put it onto my system here. But yeah, it's great. They have like little cool things. So your aunt sent you on a hike basically. So we've all done this hike. You don't have to do it. It'd be good for you. It'd be very good for you because you're on your phone all the time. But there's no like signal up here, so to get your mind off it, just go for this hike. And then when you get to a certain point, you go, oh, I can see my house from here. Hi, Auntie, how are you? And she goes, oh, hi. Oh, hiya, how's it going? It's like, oh, no, it's going very well. So it's good you have this conversation when you get to a certain point, and you can converse with other NPCs, and it's like, and they'll change sometimes the conversation you have, And so it's just this really nice flavor text that are just really, it just makes the game come alive really well. I really like that. And then the next, so yeah, fully recommend that. Highly recommend. And then there's Nobodies, all one word, with an IES.
Yep.
It's great because it's split into separate missions. So you can like focus on like one mission and everything like that. It is a lot harder than you'd think it would be. You have to basically hide dead bodies that someone else has done, and you've got to try and not get caught. If you do get caught, though, it just kind of resets just before you made that mistake, so the penalty isn't so bad. So yeah, it's very interesting because I'm 4 missions in or something, and it's again another one that's not cloud save as well. It's more difficult than I thought it would be, and I did get a bit frustrated with it. And but yeah, I think for some people they would really get into this, whereas I did really like it, but there were certain bits that I just found really frustrating. But I really want to complete it because I am still having quite a good time with it. But I think Sincerely Day would really like this because she's really good. I think I can see her be really good at this. Also the Radio Tom, because he's really good at puzzle games as well. And I think that, they would really love this. Yeah,
it's a really good idea because I imagine there's a lot of sort of some object finding in this game, like, okay, there's that evidence, I gotta remove that, I gotta remove that. It's a clever way to sort of make that a more engaging mechanic. So
I think because I think this might be on mobile as well, and I think on mobile it has like little circles where you can see where you pick things up, whereas on the version I was playing, I couldn't see what I was supposed to pick up, so it was like a bit of puzzle hunt, a bit of pixel hunting going on there. So yeah, that was a bit, could be a bit difficult. The next one, I started Jenny LeClue.
Jenny LeClue. Detective.
Yeah. I didn't complete it. I only just started like the first bit. I got kind of a bit annoyed with it because it's not point and click in the traditional sense. You don't use your mouse at all. There's no mouse support. It's like keyboard, and you have to keep. So there's lots of mechanics going on. So you have to, there's a lot of keyboard kind of stuff going on. It's just, or you can use a controller, but I don't really have. I mean, I just got a good controller just now, but so it was really frustrating for me because I just couldn't get into the mechanics of the game, because it's like they could have done this to work with a mouse, but they chose not to, and I found that incredibly frustrating. So yeah. And I did start the Spiral Scouts, but I need to play that with a controller because although you can only play with keyboard sort of thing and controller, and again, I don't like the mechanics. I didn't feel very good playing with the keyboard. So, yeah,
there's an increasing number of games on Steam that I've just been playing on controller because just the keybinds are just annoying, and that's been enjoyable. I've learned to appreciate controller play on PC. So, yep.
If it's an action enough game, I mean, like if it's a game that's got more than 4 directions, I tend to just go, no, I need a controller, because you want that 8 direction and also slow crawling and walking and such.
Yeah,
it's just more intuitive.
Alrighty. Is that all of you? All of
yes,
them?
No, that's. Sorry.
You really like knocked out your list. The number should be coming down.
I hope so, because I didn't want to like take up too much time.
Oh no. But like you've been really trying to get those games out, and it's cool that you've been able to sort of trim them down.
Yeah.
Oh right. Akyho, what have you been up to these last couple weeks?
I've been continuing with Red Dead Online.
Oh.
So just there's a new Moonshiner update. It's not that great, but just wandering around being a cowboy is. So despite the update not being the best, it's just fun to just keep going back to, and
Mhm.
it's a bit of a struggle to get money, but it's the only fun you can have is try to get more money.
That's what Godless Weeb has been doing. He is a vicious bandit. And that he's been always regaling me with various stories of how he's like, just like, oh, well, he also brews alcohol, so I guess it's like almost like a moonshiner. But like, but then he's like, someone stole my beer.
I've been having the most fun as a trader because that was hunting, and then you trade in the pelts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a case of like, before you could do that, and I was having fun being a hunter just in the game, but there wasn't a big payoff. But now there is, so it's an actual sort of business mechanic, and it is fun. It is real good fun.
It's really the closest thing I think to a living world Wild West game that we've ever had. So
there was Wild West Online MMO that came out like maybe 6 months ago. I heard it was a rocky start, but I've never looked back into it. I can't remember what's happened. I'm going to have to look to see how that went.
Last I heard, the rockiness was continuing, so so that was the last I knew about it. Any other games?
My other main game that was sucked up about 70 hours since release just before Christmas was Gundam G Generation Crossrays. It's a strategy game with Gundams from the anime series, and I was trying to complete G Generations on the Genesis on the PlayStation 4 because I imported that from Japan's side of things, and it's got an English thing, and this is the first Gundam, so it's one of the first few Gundam things on Steam now, so you can just happily go play it now on Steam, but the other version is on the PlayStation 4. I was trying to complete that, but my attention span and the time fails, and so I really wanted Crossrays. So you've got all the alternate sort of timelines of Gundams. You've got the Gundam Wing and Gundam Zero, as well as Gundam Sea Destiny and Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, which is some of the more popular series nowadays. And so if you're a Gundam fan and like tactical turn-based strategy games with an almost Pokemon-like collecting of like robots, because you rank up the robot, it can develop into another robot, and you can choose which robot you want. So it becomes a collectathon of going, oh, I need this, I need that, and I need to do this. So that's what's took up 70 hours of my time to play it.
Alrighty, well, and so these last couple of weeks, I finished Slay the Spire actually this morning. I finished it, so I finally beat the Ruby, and I definitely have. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but needless to say, it was not as much as I expected. But you know, it's still. The journey is what this game is about. It's not the ending. It's not about the ending. It is the journey. So I will say that I was expecting some like big thing at the end.
Oh, I didn't expect that. Just merely getting past level 1 is an achievement in yourself. That's a story of like how you get past the first level, and then it's like, oh no, there's a boss now. How do I fight the boss when everyone else has gave me trouble?
Yeah. I have zero regrets giving this game Game of the Year in our Game of the Year show, though. So it is just so excellent. And there's a new patch coming, so it's going to get updated. So I'm very excited about that.
More Slay the Spire, I mean, like even an expansion, because you can always get new enemies, new cards, new heroes to play as. There's still lots to that concept.
Yep, and it's a free update, so they're just adding a new character with their whole own mechanic, etc. So it's gonna be awesome. The next game, so because I was staying with my sisters and didn't have my high-tech computer, I looked on my Steam list for all the pixel art games I have, because pixel art games can generally run on a toaster. So I just played this on my sister's toaster laptop, and I checked out Chasms. No spoilers, but there's more to it where you are. Okay, that's good to know. But yeah, so Chasm, or Chasm, I think it's supposed to be Chasm.
Chasm, yeah.
Yeah, so Chasm is a Metroidvania, and that worm boss you just saw is what I'm stuck at. If you're wondering how far into the game I am, but I am stuck. I feel like I have to grind or just get good at that point. Oh my gosh. They just showed the guy digging. I have a oh, okay, I know what I need to do. Oh my
The
gosh.
trailer teaches you something.
Yeah, the trailer just showed me something that I forgot about. Okay, now I know how to continue this game, actually. So yes, so Chasm, it's a really neat title. It's definitely not the best Metroidvania out there, but it's solid. It is well done, good pixel art, nice music, interesting enemies, and interesting lore. You do get a gradual lore progression as you hit new chapters. It's a great game. I like it a lot. So, yep, it's just in beautiful pixel art. So yeah, that is Chasm.
It looks great. It looks great.
When I got home and had my computer again, I checked out the beautiful Dirt Rally. I got this in the Humble Bundle. It is I'm gonna hate this, but this is the first thing my roommate said was, it is the Dark Souls of racing games.
Yeah, Rally is always Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so I play it in like filthy casual mode. Just because I just enjoy navigating the roads, just the beautiful visuals of the environment, and yeah, so it's just kind of a nice chill down game for me in the evenings. It's very good, beautiful. Dirt Rally 2 is there, so I'm gonna finish Dirt Rally 1, and I already own Dirt Rally 2 because of dear old Humble Bundle. So I've got many hours ahead of me on this game, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, Dirt Rally is good, but as you say, you have your limiters to like aid you to make it less hard. And I think I like dialed that in to a point where there was a bit more realism, but also it kept me on the track because you can easily just end up going circles. And if you are just trying to play it like you think you should play it and not how it should be played like a real professional, you're just going to go in circles and off the track. So there's a 50-50 on making the game playable for you. So it's successful.
Yeah, I can see that, because if I pick something up, I can just see myself just skidding off everywhere, really. So yeah, I am someone who would need like sort of training wheels on this. So, but yeah, no, that's good, because you should make there is a point where you can make things just accessible enough and yet still be sort of challenging. It's not going to ruin like your enjoyment of it if you're someone who really sort of hardcore, like something very, very difficult and just going in for the challenge. It's like no one's like, oh yeah, well, I beat it. It's like, well, did you beat it on casual? It's like, yeah. It's like, well, they're not interfering with like how you're playing with it, if you know what I mean.
There is going to be, it's definitely does a good thing of so right now I'm playing with most of the assists. I have some of them turned off, but it's kind of an easier mode, but it is definitely a situation where you're not playing, like you'll always hit a hard cap about how fast you can get the races done. Yeah. And I do kind of like, it definitely gives me enough like enjoyment that I'm like, okay, I really need to learn how to drift. In order to learn how to drift, you got to turn off a couple of the assists. And so now I'm watching YouTube tutorials and stuff. But it's such a fun, delightful game at its core that even in the easy mode, it is excellent. So, excellent experience for me. Especially as a non-driver who has no clue how this stuff works. Anyhow, my final game that I've played these last couple weeks is actually, we got a curation request. So I've been playing Little One. Is it on here? Let's see. Oh, whoops, I typed it and played. Oh, Little One. There we go.
So you're not typing and talking, you type what you said.
Yes, exactly. Where is it? Okay. Little one. There we go. Alrighty. So this one is not out yet. It's not available yet. So I will share. I don't want to talk too much about what is the content of the game, but from what we see here, I've played through 2 of the possible endings. There's multiple endings to this game. And at the very least, going through those 2 endings, I really want to see what the other endings are. So I suppose that is a successful visual novel right there.
What's it about?
It is about, so you're this just single lady who works as a tailor in this town, and a childhood friend comes by. He's a doctor in the city, and he just has this kid, and is like, "Hey, can you look after this kid for a few months?" And you're just like, "What?" And I love how there is an ending where it's just like, "No," and the end game ends there. And that's one of the endings. It's a little bit of spoiler, but that just kind of shows a degree of like. It's nice, and it actually has like a proper wrap up for even that story choice.
Oh,
nice. It's well written. I don't think the author, the English grammar is very, very good, but there's certain turns of phrases like that doesn't sound very natural. And I think it's maybe because the dev is German.
Okay.
But overall, it didn't really distract. Like, there was just a couple times it distracted me. It was like, that's an odd way to state that, but I always knew what they were saying, and it was always good grammar. So it's decent writing. I enjoyed the plot line. I'm really curious because this kid you're taking care of has some really like messed up thing that happened in the past, and you're trying to uncover what that is.
Okay.
And I'm still not sure what it is. I mean, he's an orphan, so that you at least have some hints there.
Okay.
But there's definitely this sort of darkness that kind of exists, like in him, and that he's just like very doesn't want to share with you. Very much.
And you've got to kind of coax it out of him, sort of thing.
Yeah, and so it has this neat D&D sort of system where he has a bunch of stats, and you set up a schedule and give him items or like introduce him to different people that'll raise those stats or lower the stats, and that'll, as you hit certain landmarks, it'll open up new story possibilities and new events, and you only have them for 2 to 3 months, so you kind of have a time limit where eventually it's like you can't go any further. Like this is the ending that you ended up with, and so you got to go back and try again.
Is it a new game plus, or is it you start complete from scratch?
You just kind of start complete from scratch, but there's multiple save slots, so you can like kind of bookmark, so you can go back to a certain spot and go from there. So if you make a choice and you really don't like how it turned out, as long as you save just before then, you can go back to that point, and you can save anytime.
The game mechanics reminds me a lot on Princess Maker, where you had to raise a princess with 0 stats, which there was also a case of like there could be assassination, so if her diplomacy wasn't up or her evasion wasn't up, she'd get killed, and so you were technically in charge of someone else and having to manage their day because you had a set time limit before the end.
Yeah.
But there's more story to this than Princess Maker.
But yeah, I like that they've had that's an interesting mechanic that they've added to it. So you're trying to you're trying to get him to trust you, and you're trying to get him to open up, and to do that you're adding stats to it, so to him. So yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I don't know, I would be interested even to see someone play this, or maybe like play this myself. But yeah, I'm curious. But if you guys want to see Dewey Bear's review, you can check out his review on the curation page, which I'll give you a link right here. Yep. There you go.
Yep. And it's of course the reviews are really short on the curation. I will have a full review up after the game launches. I'll have like a fully written review, and after I complete more of the endings. So, it's got a neat feature where you hold down control and you can just skip dialogue, and it also has a dialogue log, so you can read through anything important that was in there. So that way, when you're replaying the game, it's not going through all of the dialogue that you've already read. So it is really fast to kind of get up to a point, and it's like, okay, where do I go from here? So just good quality of life that they didn't have to add, but they did add, and that is really nice.
Nice one.
Whew. All right, so that is all the games I played. So we can get started right on honorable mentions.
Yay!
Yay! We're here to honorable mentions, guys! And the first game is My Friend is a Raven by 2-Star Games.
Oh, this is interesting already.
You know things are going to be interesting when you see a guy in a plague mask.
Yeah.
So, you return to your old apartment one last time in search of a sickened raven. You must speak to him and discover the cause behind the calamity that spread across the world. How ominous. How very, very ominous. But, yeah.
I do like the artwork in it and everything. So this originally launched in November, but it's just come out of early access. It came out on 22nd. So yeah, it just looks really interesting, I think, and it's like this dark, creepy kind of aesthetic. I like that.
Yeah, the whole scribbly pen aesthetic is very fitting for this.
Yeah. Like it, and it's free to play as well, so...
Oh yeah, that's an excellent bonus. I mean, like, I've got the audio going with the trailer on the thing, and quite eerie just from the trailer alone, so playing it atmospherically must be interesting.
Yep. There's 45 people that reviewed it, and 9% of those are positive, so...
81. Nice. Yep. So if you think it looks interesting, pick it up. There's no reason not to. Our next title is, honorable mention, is Journey to New Atlantis.
I was actually thinking about linking this one.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Journey to New Atlantis is a post-apocalyptic adventure game that follows Lana and her friend Marco on their quest to find water for Lana's ill grandmother in a world almost completely dried up. Lana's grandfather tells them of an oasis city called New Atlantis, and the two children need to brave. And they just copy-pasted and didn't think about the text limit, so it continues onward.
It's a point and click game. It's a point and click, and it looks interesting. It definitely looks interesting to me, definitely. And it's 10% off right now, and it's only £1.88. So yeah, it's I think it's interesting art as well, but there's something that's slightly crunchy about it.
Yeah. I think it's just the mannequin art style the mannequin animation just does not work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I've seen worse. And for $269 US, not bad. Not bad. So yeah.
Yeah, this is another one that's just come out of early access. So yeah, if it's something that interests you, definitely give it a go.
Next honorable mention.
Co-founded by the Creative European Program. All right.
European Program?
Random. Yeah, it was just a little tidbit there that was co-founded by a European Program thing at the end of the...
Ooh.
So it was funded more publicly, apparently. So that's where they got the funds for it.
Interesting. So perhaps a student game.
Well, no, that happens a lot, actually, because I know one of the... there was a game that point-and-click game that I played, and they're a full proper studio and everything, and they got money from the Northern Ireland Arts Council. So it's one way a developer can get funds for their game is to ask for funding from arts councils or something, because it is an art medium.
Yep. And it sort of helps establish a new industry in an area, because the nice thing about gaming You don't really need like a specific type of resource in your area to do it, just computers. So, yep.
True.
All right, computers and talent. From our friends over at the Rusty Lake in Amsterdam, Netherlands, they brought us The White Door. So imagine, like all Rusty Lake games, is going to have some sort of weird, twisted Twin Peaks thing going on, but enter the White Door and discover Rusty Lake's universe in a new game with unique style. Explore Robert Hill's dreams and help to find out his lost memories. Can you survive the strict daily routine and bring back color to Robert's life?
I just love this idea. I really need to do like a whole sort of run of Rusty Lake games because a lot of them aren't on Steam. Most of them are on their website, so you kind of like sort of start from there because they're always integrating things from past games that make a reference to it. So the more it makes it more enjoyable. But of course, you can just dive straight into like one game or another. But it's more enjoyable if you play them all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this has got 510 users and it's at 95% positive. It's £2.45 at 50. So yeah, this is Rusty Lake at their finest, basically.
Oh yeah, Rusty Lake.
Yeah, it's been getting suggested to me quite a wee bit recently, and it's been thrown at my face so much that I'm like, what is it? So I was going to look into it, and I might actually get it because of it, how interesting it is.
Rusty Lake fans are rabid. It's just they've really curated a sort of really cult classic type of community. And you know what? That's what they do. They really cater to that, and that's awesome. That we sort of have these weird like cult communities going on. So that's neat.
It's about like 3 hours long or something. So it's and the thing is, like, what I do like about Rusty Lake games is they are sort of priced appropriately as well. They don't, even though they are prolific, because they have a cult following and everything, and people outside of that fandom do also notice what they do. They still are doing price appropriate games instead of like saying, "Oh, look, we're famous. Let's bump it up to $10 or something."
Yeah, and the thing is, they really could do the Apple thing, but they don't. So that is a huge appreciation.
Yeah.
Yep. And it is $3.39 US with 15% off. So our next title is Nuclear Arms Race. This is free to play, actually. Nuclear Arms Race is a revolutionary turn-based game that allows you to produce resources, spy and sabotage your opponent in order to acquire the nuclear weapon before they can eradicate you. Revolutionary. I don't know. I feel like I've seen this before. This sort of maybe not specifically about Nuclear Arms Race, but I mean it's a sim game.
Yeah.
It's all about the systems.
I think it's still interesting, having that sort of angle on a game. It's like, okay, this is a sim game, but it's going to be nuclear spying and everything like that. I quite like that because usually, well, not usually, but quite a lot of sim games are quite, very relaxing, and they're about, building structures and, like trying to make it sort of a utopia because you want everyone to be happy in that sort of environment. So this is like very interesting the way they've done it. It's also that it's turn-based as well. It gives it a new spin.
Yeah, this actually has this sort of drive.
Competitive. It's actually short rounds. I was also reading someone's little small review of it, but it's a small competitive thing, so it's not that deep because even in like the bigger competitive like strategy games and simulations that are like multiplayer and that, some people are just quicker to get from A to B and know the route, even if it's like look on a little cheat sheet walkthrough. So it's like they're saying it's Cold War building sim, free to play plus fast rounds equal pretty simple building sim with a couple options of scientists and spies. The race is on to see who can build faster nukes first. So it's if you want to test yourself, it's like playing chess Like, there's set choices, and it's trying to get there faster and more efficient than the other person. So that's what the gameplay seems to be like.
That kind of reminds me, I suppose, like of yes, kind of. You know, you've got to build the right resources very, very fast, and there's a way to do it, sorts of thing. So there's only sort of like one route you can take, and it's like you should do this first, and then this and this and this, instead of, you know, kind of, I don't know, exploring better or something. I don't know. They should like change that so there are multiple ways of doing something, because there shouldn't just be like one way to. That's the most efficient, I think, anyway.
Yeah. 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 It's neat. A lot of these sim games, as you were saying, this one actually does seem to have stakes in the game, so that's nice. And it's from a Swiss studio, which I wasn't able to find out in my otherwise research, but it said that on the trailer, so that is cool. Our next title is Soviet Jump Game, which is an honorable mention because it's early access, but it is free.
And also, it's by Game Grumps, so I thought, you know, it's quite, you know, well-known publisher. The developer is Fantastic Passion, but the publisher is Game Grumps, so I thought, you know, this going to be a bit more known.
Yeah, easy publication and such.
I really do like the Slavic chiptune going on. That is nice, a nice touch. And it's colorful.
Yes.
Also, I like the Cyrillic.
Sorry. Play the first ever Battle Royale game and face off against other comrades in a 2D side-scrolling free-for-all.
Side-scrolling Battle Royale. Alrighty. That is interesting.
Yeah.
So it's if Mario was competitive.
So it has a 68% positive reviews, so it is mixed, but it is early access, so we shall see how this game develops. But I don't know, I might jump in and play around.
Yeah, people would like complaining that, you know, it's buggy menus that don't work half the time. It's like, that's why it's in early access. You should really post those things on like the discussion page and say, okay, this isn't working, this needs to be done. Because I find that a lot of people that put thumbs down on early access games, it's like because there's a bug or something. And it's like, well, that's why they put it in early access, so you can help them find the bugs.
Yeah.
These are the same people that review items and say it didn't arrive. Bad review. And it's like, if it doesn't arrive, you can't review it, so why are you reviewing it? It's not the item's fault it didn't arrive.
Yeah, the with the early access reviews, I think the criticism you kind of have to limit to is where the game has some specific design flaw that's clearly not a bug, like clearly an intention, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. And then it's just, you gotta have the willingness to go in and update that review when it does. But of course, a lot of people aren't going to be asked to sort of do that, because to a degree, I'm like, well, if they released it in early access, but in this case, it's a free game. So again, I'm like, okay, it's a free game. But if they're asking for money, then I'm like, well, then I almost feel like reviews should almost be up for grabs within reason. Like, yes, some polish and some bug issues. Yeah, don't put it down for that. But if it's something outside of polish, or then I really feel like that needs to be brought up in a review.
Oh, absolutely. If it's like the way that the game is, like, you know, even mechanically, or, you know, it's doing something wrong that was intentional, then, you know, yeah, absolutely, yeah, rate it down. But if it's like, oh, it's got a bug, and you're rating it down because it's got a bug when it's in early access, then that shouldn't be the way you go, really.
Oh, and Goddess we brought up, so apparently the marketing this as like an old console game that was never actually released kind of angered some people, so that's how they marketed this game. There's another game that did that we actually didn't catch, and it is Castle. Let me see. The last Fortress, or is it the Castle? Man, I have to look it up. But there was a game we talked about that was like, oh, this is a remastered Atari game that never got released, and it's like, that's entire like mythos that their marketing department came up with.
Okay.
There are multiple games that have done this. Which, I mean, in one way, it's like sort of a tongue-in-cheek sort of like establishing the lore for why this game looks so interesting kind of thing. Like, it's that sort of internal lore. But at the same time, I feel like you need to be a bit explicit, like, hey, this is not real. This is our pitch. It's not real.
Yeah, there was a game that marketed itself again like an old Commodore game, and like it was kind of looked sort of like an updated version of that, but it was hard to parse whether the marketing was real or not. It's an old, terrible Russian game that they've decided to remaster, which actually looked decent, but again, it's the marketing of like, what can you tell was true?
Yeah. Anyhow, that is Soviet Junk Game. So now we are ready for our release list, our proper release list. So welcome to the heart of the show. We have some games to talk about. They are great games. And
they're gems.
And the gems that we dug through a huge list.
There was a lot.
There was so much shovelware, like specifically in the last week of December. Oh my god!
The Christmas rush. Anyone with 5 pence can buy a game here. Have it.
I think the problem is that we found there were a lot of games that were just released, and you'd think they should have been on itch.io.
Yeah.
It was just like, why? What is this? It's like all the weird games, like I want to say kind of arts games and experimental games. They're on there, really crunchy games, but yeah. So yeah, let's get on with the gems.
Yeah, the last half of December is dumping grounds per God this week. But now, Monday, December 16th, we're going to start off with just an adorable title. It is Melbits World. But yeah.
The cutest challenge. The cooperative puzzle platformer game that will equally charm and challenge your friends and family. Communication and coordination are the key to success in the Melbits mission.
Yep. So I'm surprised that this game doesn't have any reviews on it yet. So it requires a controller to play, but it just looks so sweet. I think this game did sort of sell more. I think it is on other platforms.
Oh, yeah, it's on PlayStation 4.
Yeah. But it's just so darling.
Hey, Falcon Spain. Thanks for joining us.
But
hello, Bane.
So this is by the Melbot Studio, which is located in Barcelona and Valencia, Spain. The 9-member team. But yeah.
Nice. I just think it's adorable, and there's got some really. I like the color theory because there's some like nice pastels, and it's just really beautiful, and it's so cute.
Yeah. It's so
even the game
so
has
darling.
zero discussion on the board, so it's like no one has paid attention to it on Steam. It seems.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or at least actively.
I hope we change that. I hope this is something that people can gravitate towards, because it does look like very well done.
Does it have a single player mode? So it's co-op. Does it actually have just single player?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say whether it has single player or not, and perhaps that is one thing that might have kept people away. But still, like, I feel like someone should notice this. So yeah. Melbits World. We are Melbot. Does it have online? No, it doesn't.
That might be why no one's playing it. It's because you need 4 people in the one room.
Yeah.
Yep. No one has friends anymore. And that is $14.99 US. So.
And $11.39 UK.
So I suppose if they had a 4-copy set, maybe that'd also do better. And online play. If they had those two things.
That'd be great, yeah.
It would do much better, I think. So from Pastels to Garrity, we have another kawaii title. And that is in the form of Woodle Tree 2 Deluxe Plus. Yeah.
A new edition of Woodle Tree 2 is here, with many enhancements. We'll be able to save Mother Nature in this vast open-world adventure. This time a devastating menace is taking over the woodlands with a black substance that is absorbing life and energy from all living creatures.
So this is just Darling 3D platformer where you basically play as a log. Like, that's just... It's just so sweet looking, and
This is adorable. It's just like, when it's holding, so it's like, it's adorable.
It's achieving where Bubsy 3D failed.
Mhm.
A simple concept.
Oh, it's cute. You got your little leaf, and you can like put it on your head and get water. It's so cute.
Mm-hmm. It's Darling. I like it quite a lot. And this is made by Fabio Ferrara. So I think it's a solo dev from what I've been able to look up about this person. But
Okay.
voracious dev. Like, they've made so many games. His other titles include, and they're all bright colors, which is amazing. I love bright colors. They include Suicide Guy series, which is not as like dark as you think. Basically, I think the premise is that he's sleepwalking and like on an adventure, and you've got to like in his dream wake him up before he does something terrible to himself accidentally, because like he's dreaming. But he's just on an adventure. So Suicide Guy series, The Way of Life, and the Heaven VR series. Heaven VR has probably the worst reception, but I mean, with VR, he's kind of seems to be sort of an early adopter of development. VR is very difficult. But yeah, he's got all that. So, yeah.
He's got, like, with his, one of his games, Way of Life, really, you know, that's had nearly 7,000 reviews on us, and mostly positive. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
That is incredible. Yeah.
So
this is, you know, and a lot of his more recent games have gotten positive reviews. That's, yeah, he's obviously doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, he's obviously. He is from Italy, and just from what I could find out, he's working by himself. Like, maybe he like contracts some like. I can't imagine a guy being this talented all by himself. Like, he must like also contract. I don't know what he himself does, but he must contract some of the roles to get help with this, because it's just amazing how much he's been able to develop. But yeah.
I was looking at the Way of Life Free Edition that has Cyber Coconut and Fabio Ferreira as developers.
Oh, okay.
So it may have been him as like lead designer, and then he had a little publisher group that helped them build it.
That even kind of reinforces like the idea that maybe he's doing these solo. Because if he's got games where he's got like other people listed, and then this one's just Fabio Ferreira. Yeah,
because I'm looking up the deer, and it goes developer Fabio Ferreira and Giela Arid Roadlip, some other name, and then it's publisher Chubby Pixel. So yeah, it might just be like personal projects of game design that he's doing.
That's really cool.
Fantastic.
Really cool.
But yeah, if you want to play a sweet little anthropomorphic log, check out Woodle Tree 2 Deluxe. And Woodle Tree 1 is also on Steam.
Yeah, it's £10.29 UK.
$12.99 US. And you know what? Visuals and 3D platforming alone, I'm kind of sold on it. So if a platforming log was not absurd enough, our next title gives life to memes. Wednesday, December 18th is Fight of Animals. Digital crafter out of Taiwan.
Okay, so animal memes such as Power Hook Dog, Mighty Fox, Magic Squirrel, and more are now become fighters Simple controls and funny animals and exciting battle. Choose your favorite animal and join the fight. Players are able to fight through arcade mode, become the king of animals.
So you've got Long Cat, you've got Hench Crow, you've got Muscular Shiba Inu.
Gone to sleep. I instantly hate this game.
Yeah. The thing is, it actually looks like it probably works pretty well.
That's what I was thinking when I was looking at the list. It was just like, oh yeah, no, this. I was thinking, oh god, this is terrible. But then I was watching the playthrough, and it was just like, but it looks like it works really well.
And this is not the developer's first fighting game. They also created Fight of Gods, which is basically a god fighter. Although, even in the trailer with that one, I see a lot of frame drops. So, I think this is probably their better game. But that is just... It's just so absurd.
The thing is, they've now marketed it like it's a Smash, so they're going to be Slender Cat has joined the battle and more others, so they're memeing themselves into oblivion here.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And it's very positive review, 94% positive, and it's only $5.99. So...
Yes, £4.79 here. Yeah, like their last fighting game got a lot of positive reviews, so, you know, I think their formula is onto a winner here, and, you know, maybe they will get a lot of traction.
Yep. And there is online PvP too, so if you can get a few friends together, because I never assumed that, like, the lobby's packed with people wanting to play. It's
Yeah.
There's only so many online multiplayer games that can be running at the same time in the world, and be viable. But, you know, if you get a few friends together, this does offer online play. So, yep, online PvP. Next, our next title is a bit more grounded, when you're actually on the ground in it. I am talking, of course, about off-road racing. If I can find it, there we go. Buggy x ATV x Moto, by OSome Studio or Awesome Studio, from Lyon, France. It is a 2-dev core team.
Actually looks pretty decent quality.
Mm-hmm. It looks even better if you full screen it. But yeah, so drive off the beaten track, off-road racing offers a huge choice of all-terrain vehicles to get away from everyday life. Bomb along in a quad bike, buggy, or motocross race and enjoy the change of scenery as you explore immersive off-road tracks.
It just looks really cool. I love the different maps that they've got, and, you know, you can go upside down and stuff like that, and it looks fun. It looks like fun.
It really brings just kind of the arcade off-road racer, which I feel like there just have not been enough of lately. A lot of racing has been more simulation, and I'm just like, ooh, give me that arcade hit. Yes. So,
well, it's a case of, like, it may be like a small developer team, but I've seen worse come from, like, larger teams, since you can, like, there's, like, not necessarily Drive Club, but there's, like, Bike Club. You know those games that make similar to something that's a bigger game? And you're like, well, this is an actual, like, Middle Eastern Bloc group. This should actually be somewhat decent, and yet it's always off by a few millimeters of, like, it just doesn't hit. The physics don't work right. Something's a bit wrong, and none of it actually has any meaning. Yet this looks like it runs well. There's meaning, and hopefully there's a decent progression to play, because that's the thing about, like, a racer. If you collect everything, then you're just racing yourself at some point. So
it's sort of you can almost always tell whether a game is good, and if you just, like, get in the game and move a little bit, like, and if the movement feels right, if it matches up with the frames, if it just, like, just has that feel, you're like, oh, cool. Attention to detail. And I found that served me in a lot of situations. Like, if I get in a game and the movement is off, I was like, oh, this is not going to be great, and it's usually not. I mean, granted, there are terrible games that have that movement system down pat, but the rest of the game just doesn't work. But yeah, it is a good sort of... These devs also created Asterix and Obelix XXL2, which, of course, is a tie-in to that French comic that I love so much.
Asterix and Obelix is a ground basic thing over here in the UK. It's normality here, like Asterix and Obelix English comics here, where you could easily get them from the library. There's the cartoon there, and like, so it was a big deal to some people when it was like, there's an actual Asterix Obelix game and it's good.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it was. They always have it around Asterix and Obelix, always like around. It was like school holidays or something like that. The card. So yeah, it's very well known here as well.
They also created White Knight, which is a noir horror game. So they really show a lot of variety. Like, we've got a Buggy game, Asterix and Obelix, and White Knight. Like, these are 3 entirely different genres that this French team has made. So that's, I think, is pretty fascinating. So that's cool. Yeah. So if you thought and this is a 1999.
Yeah, it's 15. Yes.
1559?
Yeah. No, 1599.
Oh, 1599. Okay. If you thought the games were going to get more normal now, you are sort of mistaken, because we're going off to a lovely title, appropriately named Whimsy.
Whimsy is the story of a girl awaking in the forest, as she always does, and stumbling upon little red footprints. Following these footsteps leads her on a whimsical journey through the forest to solve puzzles, assist woodland creatures, and discover rituals.
So this is a Meatball Parm Studio, which I've not been able to find anywhere, because when you look up Meatball Parm Studio, you get recipes from Meatball Parmesan. Who would have thought? So I've not been able to find much information on the studio at all. But
That's an example of think about what you name yourself, or lead people to recipes and not your website.
Also, they have and again, this game, Whimsy, it's called Whimsy. Yes, there's probably not many games called Whimsy. So searching Whimsy game, I was able to find it, but it's just one word.
Titles might help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because Stephanie, when I've been writing up on the curator page, has been very difficult when it's like been single word ones. So yeah, it's really, really think about what you're going to name your game. This is a free-to-play game, but they also have a demo as well, which is kind of weird, because if you're free to play, then you kind of don't need a demo. Yeah,
I feel like the demo probably came out earlier and they just haven't bothered removing it yet.
Yeah, it was a tech demo of sorts.
Okay. Yeah, it just seemed really strange to me. But a lot of people, someone said, so let's start with the cons to this game. Just one, it's too short. And they said it great. Is great original puzzles, great graphics, and actual storyline, and free too. So yeah, that was from Hensop. Thank you, Hensop.
Thank you, Hensop. So these devs also developed a game called Hello World. Wouldn't really recommend it personally because it has so many sharp angles. I cannot look at it. It's the sort of low poly game. Maybe it's good, but I could not look at the screen when it was on because it's just so many bright colors and so many do you have that thing where you just can't look at points? I can't do that.
It's sort of like, that sort of same, the strangeness to it.
Mm-hmm.
This strange kind of visual that they put in here. But I think with this art style, it goes a lot better.
Yes, it goes so much better with this.
Yeah, because it's like you want something that looks. Unless it's slightly disturbing, and that's better when you've made it sort of like with more softer drawings, if you know what I mean. Instead of like polygon sort of, those sharp angles. Yeah, it looks better.
Oh yeah, so much better. This is very disturbing. And yeah, it's free. So if you're looking to be disturbed, we have the experience for you. As y'all may know, a holiday happened recently, and while you celebrated it, unbeknownst, it was rescued by none other than the Lord of Insanity. And that story is told in the prequel. And it's prequel to another Cthulhu game. We have Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
Eldritch Horror saves Christmas for fun and profit in his fast-paced, turn-based JRPG comedy.
Yep. So this is developed by Where Zompire. They're located in Southern California, or Zeboid Digital Entertainment. It's a 2-dev team. One of the devs, just like says, just dad with 4 daughters, and this is what he does, his day job. He's made 5 games. He and his partner made 5 games, and the other games are on their website, but this is the first one on Steam.
Yeah, Cthulhu Saves the World was a big deal because that was just the epitome of when indie games were getting more attention, because people could see that it wasn't just Jonathan Bluth who could make a well-done indie game. Random people just make whatever they like. This is even with RPG Maker, so that at the time was a big thing, because RPG Maker had been around but it hadn't really made any waves, and this was, as far as I remember, made with RPG Maker, and people are you can get some high quality stuff with RPG Maker. So it's quite a flash of the past to come back to Cthulhu. And even though it's RPG Maker and that, I'm still no, this still looks like quality because they've put it in. They've put in the effort, because they had that spark there at the start with the writing, the guidelines to make fun of everything, but also make it its own thing. So it's transcended parody.
Yeah, that's right. Godless Weeb. Cthulhu Saves the World is on Steam, but it's under a slightly different developer name.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. All right.
But yeah, you're right about RPG Maker. As I think regulars of this show also know, I'm not a big fan of RPG Maker because I feel like a lot of people have just taken it and sort of it's just been a sausage factory, and people just churned out these terrible RPG games. And there really is only sort of a handful that have really made something with it that's really unique and brilliant. So if you the first one that comes to mind for me is To the Moon. I loved that game. And there's sequels to it which are equally of good quality. So yeah.
RPG Maker is a tool, and the trick to making a successful RPG Maker game is you have to use it, of course, as your engine, but then you have to make all your own assets, make all your own UI, and add your own systems to the gameplay. Come up with your own systems and implement it in there. If you do those 3 things, I won't hold it against you that it's an RPG Maker. But if you don't, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I need to remind people that these people also made Comic Star Heroine, which is their actual serious take on a JRPG, but still with RPG Maker. So if you're seeing any of this but want a more serious thing, check out Cosmic Star Heroine, because that was a really good game as well.
Oh, that's good to know as well.
It just came out the 2017 there, so it's a newer one of theirs.
Cool beans. It's nice that they're still just regularly putting out games. It's awesome.
Yeah. This is £7.90.
It is $9.99 US, and you can also get the soundtrack, which has sort of remixes of Christmas music. So
that's awesome.
I couldn't really think of a way to introduce this next game, so no segue, just Hotel Sowls?
Sowls, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Hotel Sowls is a mysterious adventure game with appealing 2D graphics. As a pharmacologist, you manage to get a valuable and mysterious stone after a hard journey, and you decide to take a break at the Hotel Sowls. But the next morning, someone in the hotel stole the stone.
What a very interesting aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, I've not really. It's been a really long time since I've seen a game with this particular art style of like the dots, the texture,
like sort of spray
pen
paint,
dots.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's your old terrible low resolution photocopier look. Not even low paint, because it's just terrible low quality.
Yep. But it's just interesting.
But I also think, there must be something there because it's got 173 reviews and 97% of them are positive.
Yeah.
So that's it. This is definitely like quite a good game then. So, if they've got I haven't heard of this. I hadn't heard of this game before. So
cool. You've got another point and click game to fill up your playlist. So it's very striking and sort of takes us away. We've been seeing a lot of like really bright colors, and so suddenly we've got very muted, very muted and very strange and surreal. But yeah.
I think this is quite a short game. It's probably about 2 hours, and it has just come out of early access. And they said it features art, surreal, strange setting and items, intriguing story, unraveling through collecting journals, multiple endings. So that's interesting for me, especially point and click games. They don't normally have like different endings. There are a few of them that do, but generally they don't. Unlockable hidden rooms, various original soundtracks, Windows and Mac support. So yeah, interesting.
It is a $3.99 US. So.
It's £2.89. So yeah, good
this
price.
is the first game on Steam from Studio Salt, and I've not been able to find any information on Studio Salt on the internet when I was looking up. So be that way, I guess. From Wednesday, January 1st, our next title is miniLAW, Ministry of Law, and is by Lasso Games from Huntington, West Virginia.
Roam the dystopian future city of New Babel, mankind's last hope. In search of crimes in progress, use lethal weapons, non-lethal force, and diplomacy to take down bad guys.
Really striking pixel art. I am concerned as to why it's suddenly mixed now that it is out of early access. So it's 83% and out 67%. So I'm wondering what that...
Maybe there was an update or the usual sort of thing of a bug happens and everybody get pissy. But we'll have to do a wee bit of research there.
The most common thing I've seen when the game comes out of early access and suddenly gets like middling or negative reviews is because it didn't change enough from the early access state. And people are like, oh, we were expecting this other stuff, which, yeah, like, bad on the developers for promising stuff that they couldn't deliver, if that's the case.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's still, it's weird that it changes from mostly positive to mixed. Yeah.
Yes, people were saying game provides little to no player satisfaction and short-lived immersion and no replayability. That's Zealwood. And Donovan said, cool vibe, but even in its final release, miniLAW struggles to be engaging. There is the structure of a game here, but not much substance. Level design repeats fairly quickly, only 2 or 3 mission objectives, which are all about the same. AI is very basic, only a few enemy types, very little choice in playstyle. Role-playing aspect is present, but seems undeveloped or not fully implemented.
Okay. All right. At least that one had some substance to it.
Even the positive ones are like, there are some major things. Like one that's a bit short, the repetitivity of it at all. But there's also a case of like it's needing more to the game because they enjoy the basic concept, but it's like where's the meat?
I think that's also the downfall of some games. It's like, oh, I really like the look of it, or I really like what it's kind of offering. There's sparks of sort of potential, but it's just not been realized, and that's always a and it's because this was in early access, and I think those issues should have been addressed. But of course, if people didn't say in early access what needs to be changed, then of course, you know, the developer either can't or wouldn't know to do that.
And that is sort of a trap of early access, is when you kind of release a game into early access, then suddenly people have an idea of what, oh, this is where the full game could be, kind of thing, and then they're forming a picture. And whereas if this game had just sort of launched with how it was, I feel like it might have just gotten better reviews, and people were like, oh yeah, it's kind of small, but yeah, it was nice.
There's an example of people's feedback changing games rapidly. Stellaris, it was a full release, but the developers listened to the serious players so much that the gameplay now, 6 years on, is totally different from where it started. And some people who were the middle ground or the not so experts to the game now are like, no, this is not the game I wanted. Why is this now a totally different game? So developers do need to keep in mind who they're listening to. But then again, who is paying the most money might also keep their directions.
That's true.
And that was the downfall of WildStar. Anyway, this game is $14.99.
It's $11.39 in the UK. I think that also might be why it's gotten a lot of negative games, because I think if it's doesn't have as much depth, and also if it is maybe on the shorter side, I don't know, then maybe not charge it kind of like as a full price indie game.
What made me attracted to it was, like, I looked at it, oh, the aesthetic's cool, everything looks cool, and then watched the trailer and I'm like, oh, hey, this actually looks playable. But then apparently it quickly falls off from what you see is what you get. So that's the one downfall. So they've made a wonderfully aesthetically game, but then learning the game part.
Lasso Games has also developed an RPG called Levanterra, which is still in early access. So they're going to have another upcoming release that we'll talk about maybe later this year. All right. Monday, January 6th, we have Nexoria Dungeon Rogue Heroes.
I found this, and again, it was the aesthetic, and it looked playable, and also a bit ridiculous.
Nexoria is a hardcore roguelike about dungeons with hybrid battles, combining classical turn-based combat system and a collectible card game. Collect the best spells and conquer the dungeons.
You know what? This is a combination of recipe that could do really, really well. Also, these characters that they have come from the other games that Time Umari or Turnox, the devs, developed. They are located in Ukraine, and they've created several pixel art games that this game seems to have a lot of references to, which is kind of cool. So,
it's Darkest Dungeon meets Slay the Spire. That's what I've gathered from watching the trailer a few times, and it's something to go in with a bit of whimsy, I would assume.
Just
music, which
looking
we're
at
not getting, is quite good.
Just looking at their other games, and it's a lot of Catgirl games, and it's just nice that they stick to a theme.
Yeah, they have a theme, like in most of their games, I think, except two of them. Two of them have nothing to do with that. But like, three of the games, it's like cat girls. It's like, okay, that is your thing. You have cat girls. But they're all kind of like cute, and it's just a very cute anime-esque aesthetic that's just like very like a callback to older Japanese RPGs, which is neat. Yeah. So I don't really like the UI, but it's also could be worse. So
it's also currently just £3, 3 pence, full retail price $3.99. So
and it's 24% off. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's $3.99 in the UK.
$3.99 full price. It's £3 and 3 pence currently with its 24% off.
It's $3.79 US. And $4.99 full price. But yep. Okay. So at first I thought it was like more expensive, and I was like, Ooh. More expensive in the UK. They got something against you guys? But no. All right. So, yeah.
But yeah, this is just come out of early access. So I'm curious to see if like there's going to be more reviews and whether they're going to be positive or negative now. You know, it's just freshly out of early access.
The pixel art isn't bad, but it's really, I'm not like awe-inspired by it. That is one thing. There's definitely a lot of areas where this pixel art could be improved. But kudos to a studio, a perennial studio.
I don't like the writing that it keeps up, sort of like the report, because you know that you see that in MMOs, and of course that you can have that on, or you can't have that on. It's depending on what you play, but you can turn those off to a degree and just have chat on or whatever. But it's kind of like you don't really have those in like non-MMOs usually, because you don't really need it. You just the hit point that comes up, and it's like, okay, yeah, I hit this, and it still has this amount of hit points left. That's kind of all you need to do. When you keep that on there, it's just really distracting, and it just like it's filled, and it's taking away sort of from the atmosphere of the artwork, sort of, the background. It just looks, it's terrible. I don't like that.
It makes it look less good.
And to think some developers had to spend time putting that all in, and everyone's going to ignore it, and it's like, you've got to save yourself time, buddy.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. The features, it says normal attack, defense, position change, casting a hero spell, one for each, casting spells from hand.
Good job, Ukraine.
Yeah, good job.
All right. Our next title is Reversi Quest 2. Here we go.
Reverse. Sorry, I need the.
Yep. This is Yokogo Systems, which I believe is based out of Japan. But yes, from I was able to see, they do have a video. There we go.
Okay. Reversi Quest 2 is a single-player tactical JRPG with a battle system based on Reversi. Those good old days of pixel art, characters, and sound reminiscent of video games of the mid-90s. No need to know the previous Reversi Quest to enjoy Reversi Quest 2. Good to know.
Nice that they're just like straight up about that. It's like, hey, like, yeah, the plot doesn't necessarily connect. I'm hoping to see the actual, like when you get into a match, like, what does that look like? Because it says that it's based on Reversi.
It's based on Reversi, as you were just saying, Reversi, the table game.
Yeah, there we go.
Same rules, but with RPG mechanics.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
It looks a bit of a mess to me, but that's. Yeah, I mean, it's just me, because I'm not really, you know, it's not sort of a game I would play kind of thing. But yeah, it just like, because you've got, I guess it's showing you where you can put your units and everything, and it's kind of, it just looks like there's too much going on.
Yeah, I think part of it is also with Japanese devs in particular, they do this frame thing. I don't know why they do that on their trailers. It's bad. It looks bad. But when you actually just have the full screen up, perhaps it would be less busy, but I don't know. It does look pretty fun though. I would be down to play a Reversi RPG. But it is $16.99, so that's another thing. $16.99 US.
Yeah, it's 15% off right now, and it's £13.16. And there's only 8 reviews currently, so yeah, there's not enough to go on to give it whether people like it or not.
Yep. We spoke about the next game's demo a few months ago, and no, it is not Backbone. It is Mythic Ocean. It is out, if I can.
Yeah, full game. So teach the gods to create a better universe, or mess it all up in Mythic Ocean, a narrative exploration game where your choices shape the fate of the cosmos.
Yeah, this is by Paraloon Games out of Austin, Texas. It is a 3-dev team that made this.
So yeah, what was out previously was Prologue, so maybe, and which was free.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is better to play the Prologue because then you get an idea of more story or what. Because I'm not sure if it's because I think with Backbone you would have to sort of like play the Prologue to know what you're getting into or where it's started off, and then you get the full game.
Yeah, it all depends on whether they include the prologue in the full game or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is, it looks so striking and colorful. I love that this week we've had so many bright and colorful games. It's just really an optimistic, bright way to start 2020. That's nice. Just really cheerful games. Just so beautiful. And I'm glad that, especially in the indie area, people are like willing to do more bright, colorful stuff, because that's what I like. And, AAA space has not been doing that very often.
No,
so cool.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like doom and gloom and browns and greys sort of thing. Yeah, it's nice to be bright and colourful and cute.
Yep. My word, this is pretty. And yeah, this is the last game of the week, and it is $13.49.
It is £10.25. It's 10% off currently.
Oh, such a beautiful title. Yeah, I think I might need to pick this up eventually. It's just got such a striking look to it. Alrighty, and with that, we do need to sort of pick like
Really, is that?
Oh no.
That's everything?
Oh,
I don't think so. I don't think it is.
No. That's right. It is time for Rhodey's dishonorable mentions.
I mean, it's not even in the script here. He was trying to evade you there. It's not written down here. Everything else, all the
I forgot, I swear.
Yeah. No.
Oh, and there were some serious dukers that came out these last few weeks.
Oh yeah.
Word.
Now to face your punishment. Now to face your punishment, mortals. So the first one is Timmy's Adventure, Verbmon.
All right. To see, when I said put down a subtitle, I meant one that made sense.
So yeah, Timmy's Adventure Verbmon is an adventure game.
Oh.
Fun, educational for kids, parents to learn English, irregular verbs, capture Verbmons using irregular verbs, catch them all.
You know what's
I'm not even seeing the mons, but
what is odd and upsetting about this game is that there's actually some assets that look legitimately good. But it's like just such a mix of things.
Like, it's okay. Well, how could this go wrong? And then movement happened.
This is, I know we talk about educational games and everything, but it's like there are some things that, people do well, but there's some things that are just like, why would you do that? Why would you make it look like that? You're trying to appeal to a certain audience, and that's the thing. If you're making something to appeal to a certain audience, you need to do certain things, because they're not going to look at that and go, oh yeah, I'm going to pick this up because I need to learn English. You know what I mean? There are it grates on me. It grates on me.
Why does Timmy look the most different from everything else? Like, character design, everything is not the same. Art style, I sort of feel like maybe art flipping, or they've just spent so much on a main model for the main character, and then everything else was like, well, we've got our friend, he can do it.
That's the thing. I'm wondering if they like bought a few assets, like character things, and then maybe brought like different artists to say, oh, I'm thinking of working on a game. Can you make a character or something, and they've each all made a character, and each one just looks weirder than the last.
Yeah, it's just very just all off-putting, very off-putting, so weird.
So that's £4.79 if if you're interested.
$5.99 US.
The next one for your viewing pleasure is called Bloody Trains.
Oh, I know about this one. It keeps showing up on the front page of Steam for me, and I don't know why.
Because Roddy puts you to the terrible games and it knows what you like.
So sitcom train attendant blowing head simulator. So this is from a developer that we've seen before, and one of the games we have praised that he's done, but others that we've seen him do, and we're just like, why have you done this? I think this particular developer makes sort of political political games, but he does them in a way that's such a bizarre art
Yeah,
thing.
this really does look like an art piece, like, I am a genius. No one understands me. That's what this game comes off as.
Yeah. And you're right, mate. No one understands this. What is this? Oh, dear.
But you know what? I'm not losing faith in
quality
humanity. There is quality here. It's just hard to explain.
And it's also hard to pay for since it's £18.49.
Well, no, that wouldn't be paid for that. I'm interested. I'm not that interested. I can buy other games for way better that I'm more interested.
Yes, it looks like there's so much effort. My word.
Too much
And that's the thing. I think you if you're making an art game, it's like, well, this is my art and this is what it's worth, sort of thing. But it's like, well, you are doing it's interactive medium. It is a game. It is a game ultimately, and this is what people pay for in games, and you can't go against that sort of grain of thinking people are going to buy it because it's your art. You got to remember, you are selling to the general public, and this is how much they're willing to pay for it.
So off-putting.
Yeah. So the next one is Dino Drifters.
Oh my, I knew this. As soon as I saw this one, I knew you were going to have it.
So discover the ancient past with Dino Drifters. Explore prehistory as one of the Dino Drifters, team of time-traveling rangers. Encounter and play as a great myriad of creatures, great and small, including Tyrannosaurus, Liopleurodon, sorry, and Gigatrilolorother, from every time period all over the. I'm going to get Dewey Bear to pronounce those properly for me.
Liopleurodon and Gigantoraptor. Yeah.
Thank you, because I are bad at work.
Yes, I mean it's over 4 syllables. Yep.
I mean the pronunciation makes sense. It's weird. Again, I'm the same weirdo that walks into Natural History Museum and points at skeletons and go, "Oh, that's an Allosaurus. Oh, that'll probably be a Cretaceosaurus." And then I look at the plaque. I was right. I was quite annoying to my girlfriend at the time.
This looks like another sort of game that's trying to be educational, but there's a reason there's a stigma behind educational games, and it's really unfortunate because I feel like the best games at being educational are the games that don't advertise themselves as being educational, like Rome Total War. You're going to learn a lot about geography and history through Rome Total War, and it's not what they sell it as. They don't sell it as a history game.
Even way back, because you had those Encyclopedia Dramatica games that would take you on things. I mean, even Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego is educational, but everyone remembers it as a game first, than an education of history and everything.
It was like being sneaky at teaching you stuff. So it's like
Instead of write out the verb.
The thing is, those kind of games, because there used to be like a division in EA and a few other studios, they were the ones that were making the big money. And then all of a sudden they just got rid of them.
Yeah.
So there is like there's a vacuum now of good educational games. And there's no one that's taken up the mantle for that, I feel.
I can tell you, if someone can make some good educational games, like good quality, like proper indie good quality educational games, you're gonna sell. It's gonna sell like hotcakes. Because guess what? The whole generation of gamers that have grown up, they're all having kids now, and they would really like to be able to like help their kids' education. Because a lot of us remember back in the 90s, they were good educational games.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, and this is from 99 as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite is Evolution, the game of intelligent life, where it was like, well, it was evolution, and you had little creatures that you had to try and keep alive, but it was a full-blown simulation, and like heat and time changing, and the map would change because, so you just learned about evolution, and you micromanaged what things evolved into, so they could be good for what was upcoming and not. Yeah, 98, 97, yeah, it was complete educational stuff, but it was just a wonderful game, and I lost hundreds of hours to it as a kid.
There are a lot of good engineering education, like they're not billed as educational games, like engineering and programming games. Those ones are actually really, really good, and again, sort of teach you without you realizing it. Now, you're ready to remove my faith in humanity again, aren't you?
I am. Perhaps. So this is Mompreneur Pizza Cooking Life Sim. Live the life of a new mom in this story-driven cooking game. So, so the story of this sounds very interesting. It says, in this fun story-driven sim-like cooking game, you start out as a new single mom who just broke up with her boyfriend. As you move into a new apartment, you have to take care of your baby and your needs by interacting with objects, earn money to pay rent, buy food and baby products. Since you've worked at an aunt's pizzeria in the past, you decide to start your own home catering business. Every food order comes with a unique story, so you will meet many interesting characters. You also need to attend to your personal life as you start to receive emails from your mom, your ex-boyfriend, your girlfriends, and even a new love interest. Sometimes you have to make a choice to let a new story unfold. Will you forgive your baby's father, or will you find new love? Can you make your business work, or do you have to move back with your parents? You decide your story. The problem is, what they've shown on the trailer and everything else, it's mainly you're making pizzas, and that's in your bedroom.
In your studio, and, yeah, like wow.
Yeah, and it's just like everything else that you've told me about in the story, you've not actually got like a proper animation for it or anything.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's all tell and no show. There's no.
The room is a UI. That is the trick.
Yeah, it's just this is one room, and then you can go to a table and prepare food, and that does not make a good game, really.
No.
Now, I think like something like Cook, Serve, Delicious, that has enough in there to make it very interesting, even though there aren't a lot of scenes, but there's still like you go back to the menus and there's other things going on. You know, there's that game. Is still very simplistic, but done very, very well. Whereas this is trying to make a big story and it's not showing it.
There's some good ideas here, but you need effort and some additional some additional work to display the story in a more interesting way. Yeah. Yep. Besides just like white blocks with text.
Yeah.
Because you've just got pizza being made in the middle of a room. I don't know where the oven is. There's a fridge. There's not even a kitchen counter. This is breaking all the health code violations. Being a mom entrepreneur, I think you still need someone to say, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like maybe if it was set in a country with no like health codes, maybe. That might
Just
be
have it set as
interesting.
post-apocalyptic. Same story, but post-apocalyptic pizza delivery mom.
And it's 11.39 as well. I mean, looking to charge that much for this, you know.
$14.99 US. Yikes.
Oh.
Just one last one. One
last one. Okay, I'm ready.
And it is so weird, and I didn't know whether I could include it, but I think I could. I think, you know, it's not been banned or anything. So this is the Good Time Garden, and this, it looks fine. It looks great, but it's one of those things where it's in that itch.io kind of realm of weirdness, and it's just like,
you're thinking it might get banned.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just really, you've got to find food for your friend. That's it. And it's just fleshy and gross.
Yeah.
and this is and yeah, it's got very positive reviews. Like 200 people have gone in for it, and it's a free game. But yeah, it's one of those, I feel, in the itch.io realm of experimental and kind of weird, and that's why I'm like, okay,
yeah, it's another one of those delightful, unsettling games. Yeah, well, it's free, so you can check it out if you want.
It makes me think of those weird cartoons that you see at like past midnight on some random channel, and you're like, what the hell's going on? You know, stoner cartoons that are on for like when the stoners are hungry for pizza, and they're like, what's going on, man?
Yeah. And it's like, you play it within like 20 minutes. It's like a 20-minute game or something. So yeah, but it's fine, it's free.
All right. Okay, so now I'm thoroughly unsettled. Akyho, what was your favorite game of this week? This week's list. Best of list.
I'll have to remind myself, because I think it was one of the earlier ones. Yeah, I have a terrible memory, to be honest.
Shall I come back to you? Let Rody.
I think it was Cthulhu.
Cthulhu? Yeah.
Yeah, I know where I'm going with that, and it's a case of like there's quality there. Everything else, it's good if you're like liking that, which is like the woody thing. That is actually a really good looking platformer, but I'm not into platformers. But it does look good for anyone that does want their platformer.
And you kind of bring up my actual favorite of the list was also Woodle 2. I just think it has got that like really delightful aesthetic to it. And looking at the previous, so this is Woodle 2 Deluxe Plus. There's also Woodle Tree 2, and there is Woodle Tree, the original game. This one, they all have a similar aesthetic, but this one just shows an additional level of polish and development to it. And it's just neat to see that progression. Like his work with colors has just drastically improved, and lighting, etc. And this one's going on my wish list. I'm gonna check it out. So, what about you, Rody? What is your best of the list?
This has been a really difficult week. Like, there's
a lot of great games.
Yeah, there's been, but nothing. I mean, I put Hotel Sowls. That's one that's gone definitely on my list. But although the rest of the list has been pretty solid, there's nothing that's really stuck out for me personally. But yeah, this one I'm intrigued, definitely intrigued about.
Yep. So yeah, and with that is a Steam release list for the week. Chat, let us know what your favorite games were, of course, and if you play any of these games, please let us know what you thought about them. We would love to hear it. And yeah, so first of all, before we do say goodbye, I would just like to let Rody and Akyho let you know where you can find them. So Rody, what are you up to? Where can they find you on the internet?
Well, hopefully I'll be streaming at some point. I've definitely want to get back onto clearing some of my list. I definitely think I've made a good end of year and good start of the year with all the games I've been playing the last couple. So I'm hoping to continue with that. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch. .tv /Roadypie.
All right.
Falconsway says I keep buying more. I know the pain, I know the pain.
It's a never-ending process. And now that I've got Humble Bundle monthly, it's gonna be just awful.
Oh yeah, and definitely, keep coming back, because soon we will be setting up to do giveaways on this channel.
Yes.
So yeah, be sure to tune in.
Humble Bundle, it's got a wealth for you alone. Then there's any other little thing going by for.
There's so many keys that I don't really want, and I just want to give them away, but it's just figuring out how to do the whole giveaway process in a very transparent and visual way. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping to do. So hopefully for future streams, at the end of the podcast, we will have a giveaway after the main sequence. But yeah. Akyho, what about you? Where can the internet find you? I
tend to not really have anything, but you've actually caught me at a time where I do actually have something. It's on the Black Pants Legion YouTube channel. It's a guy that I know. He's been running it for years. I'm a fan of his, and in the little community, he welcomes the community to give their playthroughs. And I've stepped up and I'm doing Jedi Academy, the old Jedi Academy for PC. And so I'm on like episode 6 right now. It's every 2 weeks he puts it up, and I'm often getting 1,000 views. There's about 10 comments. To get anyone, and they're not all like, you're terrible at this game, so it's been fun to them, and I've recorded it all, so it's just like let it upload. So it's like my one and only thing to plug right now is another channel, Black Pants Legion, with text. He also does BattleTech videos, as well as just any other games like PlayStation 13, Rim World, and the Warforged. These weird niche games that he makes more fun because he's just a salty bastard.
Well, that is really cool. That's always awesome to get involved with another community and get to kind of like, and then it's cool because like the responsibility is not also on you. It's just like, cool, I'm just here like helping. It's nice. It's a nice feeling being able to get involved and have someone else who knows what they're doing. So yeah, that's cool. Awesome. And with that, thank you everyone, all of chat. You were awesome. It was great having you. And I'm looking forward to, we'll have a show next week with more games. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys.
And don't forget to check out our curator page and to follow it, because we'll have all of our past games up on there. We're going through them. And if you follow us, it gives you automatically recommendations of anything that we've spoken about on the channel, on the Twitch channel. So do give that a go. Here is the link, and thank you once again for supporting us.
Yes, thank you so much. And of course, I'm updating. This is an update for the channel. I am going to be updating the background, so I finally got some shelving. Yes. So it's gonna like shelving that is tall enough. So there's going to be I'm going to develop a nice set behind me. So we shall see that next week. Anyhow, Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye, YouTube.
Bye. Bye.